Phil Adams. Adams's voice was crackly in their ears. PRR was designed to hold platoons together on foot, not coordinate vehicle chases, and the second wolf must have been right on the edge of the radio's 500-metre range. "Roger that, Hound 1, Woolston confirmed. "You gonna come and join us?" "Negative. Local int suggests that any moment now your lads are gonna hang a left, and then we will converge." The scooter's red taillight suddenly ducked off to the left, darting between a bus and an ancient VW Beetle. "There they go!" Sean shouted. He just managed to bring the speeding 2-ton vehicle round without turning it over. The tyres ground against the road surface, digging into the loose grit and gravel and spitting them behind as the wolf took to its new course. "Hound 1, that's the players heading towards Herbert Macaulay, ETA 1 minute. How did you know it would be left?" Woolston asked. "Local liaison says they'll be heading for Makoko. That is a shanty town. Half of it's on stilts over the lagoon." Sean filled in the blanks and coaxed another 5 mph out of the engine without being asked. They had to get to the suspects before they reached Makoko. A wolf could never follow a scooter into a town built on stilts. The wolf shuddered so much on the bad road that it was like driving into a succession of brick walls. But now, its powerful headlamps were close enough to light up the scooter. The next few things happened almost simultaneously. The pillion passenger on the scooter twisted round and raised his right arm in a gesture Sean recognised. Fuck! It took all his self-control not to stamp on the brakes or twist the wheel over, following the basic human instinct to avoid death. The windshield in front of his face starred and cracked, and he was squinting at the embedded lump of lead that would have drilled right between his eyes but for the wolf's armoured glass. The part of his mind not concentrating on navigating took a moment to realise that the shit had finally got real. In nearly 2 years of army service, in nearly 19 years of life, it was the first shot ever fired at Sean in anger. It made a subtle but very important change to their situation. The section was no longer just in pursuit of suspects. It could now reasonably say that it was in danger and take the appropriate action to defend itself. "We're taking hits," Woolston shouted. "Abort!" Sean had learned to obey orders quickly, do first and think later. But this order, coming from Woolston of all people, didn't feel right. It surprised him enough to delay him for half a second. And then it was countermanded by a voice that Sean would never disobey in 1,000 years. "Negative, keep going," Adams bellowed in fury. "Step up the pace. The more they shake, rattle and roll, the more they'll cling on for dear life, and not take pops at anyone. Harker, I want you breaking the fucking land speed record." "Yes, Sergeant," Sean shouted. Dimly, he realised he had no idea what was happening. The NCOs were disagreeing. People were shooting at him. He did the only thing a soldier can: follow orders and keep going. He had the brief impression of something heavy swooping in the humid air above him, and suddenly a bright white light from the sky was pinpointing the scooter like a death ray from a skyscraper-busting alien spaceship. Over the roar of the wolf's engine, he caught the thud, thud, thud of heli blades. Shit. The Air Force were in on this too. Everyone was in on it. Sean could almost feel sorry for the suspects. Almost. The pair had done almost everything right, until they were spotted emerging from a hole cut in the army base fence. They had been around the back, away from the main gate, and had obviously timed it between sentry patrols to give themselves maximum opportunity. But they had done it just as 2 wolves full of British soldiers, a whole platoon of Fusiliers, were coming back from exercise, fully kitted and tooled up. 2 days earlier, insurgents had raided a village between Lagos and Ibadan, less than 30 miles from their present position. Boko Haram were meant to be holed up in the mountains on the other side of the country. The possibility that they were making a comeback, or worse, that a new force was emerging to replace them, meant that the battalion had been on full alert ever since. The suspects hadn't had a chance. The chase was on the moment they were clocked. Commands and responses shot back and forth over the PRR. Adams's speed-up strategy had worked. There was no way the suspects could afford the luxury of firing back and keeping hold.